This morning, don't lean into the microphone, and then I just leaned into the microphone. I don't follow my own advice sometimes. So welcome everybody, especially those who are just joining us. Come on down, sit in the front. We'd love to see your smiling faces. Dr. Goldberg told me not to make people come down front, although I always do that. Because she told me, yeah, she would be sitting in the last chair in the back, and then I recognized that I also would have done the same exact thing with my cohort. So good morning and welcome. Thank you for getting up with us so early, and thank you for joining us for this fun day in the first session. So welcome to the celebration of Temple Health Women, the Value of Inspiration. My name, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Allison Saccomandi, and I'm the Vice President of Leadership and Organizational Development here at the health system. And I am really honored to be your MC for today's events and guide you through this morning's session, and for those of you who are coming back, this afternoon's session as well. As a reminder, you know, this event is dedicated to the memory of Temple University's president, Joanne Epps, who we lost tragically a couple of weeks ago, a fearless female leader and advocate, but it is also in recognition of Dean Goldberg's one-year anniversary in her position as a fearless first female dean of the Lewis Katz School of Medicine, and most importantly, it's in celebration of the women of Temple Health. Serena Williams once said that every woman's success should be an inspiration to another, and we hope that's what we really accomplished today. That was our goal, to hear the words and the stories of our coworkers and some of our leaders, and really to be inspired, to cheer each other on, to lift each other up, to mentor, to guide. And to kick us off this morning, someone who really needs no introduction, a woman of strong determination and passion, a truth teller, someone who I know reflects on leadership every day because she tells me how to connect with people, how to inspire people, how to promote, and also what she told me today, how to bring people together because that's what really matters. A person who really thinks beyond her own individual success and thinks about the success of the organization and the impact on our Temple Health community, and more importantly, something she's been talking to me about lately, our shared Temple Health legacy. So ladies and gentlemen, and all members of our community, please welcome Dr. Amy Goldberg, the Marjorie Joy Katz Dean of the Lewis School of Medicine.
Thank you, Allison, so much. I want to thank all of you for being here this morning, and to those who will be joining us this afternoon. Thank you to our speakers, Deb Cancilla, who has been a terrific colleague and an amazing leader over the years. Jane Scicchetti, who will be with us in the second session, has been a great support and inspiration to me, alongside her support for Temple, and our storytellers. Dr. Dorian Butler-Colmer, Assistant Professor and Director of the University Laboratory Resources at the Katz School of Medicine. Dr. Natasha Vedegay, a Senior Fellow in the section of Cardiology, who's here with us now. And Glenda Montrose, a Supervisor with Temple University Hospital Food Services, who will join us in the second session. Thanks to them all for sharing their experiences and uplifting us. I'm so grateful that each of you said yes. I also want to thank the team that made this vision a reality. Allison Saccomandi and her team in the health system. Allison. Jen, where's Jen? Way in the back, Jen. Jen Huth in events for institutional advancement, and others across the school's leadership, IA, and Marcon teams. This was truly a collaborative effort with a critically important purpose. We are here to recognize and celebrate the strength, the commitment, and the impact of all women across this amazing institution. I have been at Temple for 30 years. 30 years. Unbelievable. And I have seen a lot, and I'm lucky to know so many of our incredible colleagues. That's what 30 years as a trauma surgeon gets you. In my role as dean, it has been a privilege to get to know even more of you. I always talk about my love for Temple and my deep pride in the work that happens here. And I appreciate every person who shows up for our students, our patients, and our mission every day. What we all have built and the difference we make is remarkable. But today is about the women. At every level within this organization, at every stage of my career, I have been humbled and inspired by the women around me. And now in this chapter of my Temple story, I am the first woman dean of the Lewis Katz School of Medicine. And as our first woman dean, I am the inaugural dean to hold the title that honors a friend to our school and generous philanthropist in her own right, Marjorie Joy Katz. It's been said to know Marjorie was to know someone genuinely motivated by love. She was dedicated to making the lives of children and families in her community brighter and better. That is incredible, and I am so honored and grateful to be a part of this history and this legacy. When I reflect on how I got here and how I was able to get here, it is all thanks to the women who came before me, the ones who pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable. They changed the rules, and doing it asked an awful lot of them. It required sacrifice. I think of women like my own mother, an elementary school teacher who had to drop me off on her way to work an hour and a half before my school began so she could make it to hers on time. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And I know it was hard for her and hard on her. But I understand that she was doing what she had to do. She was changing the rules, and because of her, what she took on, I could do anything I wanted to do. That's how she made me feel. And my mom, she was a 70s left-wing liberal. She raised me that way. She taught me about Gloria Steinem. Y'all can look up these names if you want. She taught me about Gloria Steinem and Bella Abzug and Shirley Chisholm, the trailblazers, the women paving a new road. But her piece of that, what she did every day, meant just as much to me. At one point in my career, I was receiving an award, and they asked me to name only one woman who influenced me, and I couldn't. And I want to share with you what I said instead nearly 20 years ago. I admire all the unnamed women in the late 1960s and 70s that went out into the workplace like pioneers conquering the West. Whether it was to help finance a single-parent home, add to a needed second salary, or to pursue careers and advance their intellect. Without these women, my entry into medical school and academic medicine would have been far more difficult and nearly impossible for me to stand here tonight. So to no surprise, for those of you that know I'm such a paper hoarder, I still have the card that I read those words from. And it meant so much to me then, and clearly it still does now. And that determination, that commitment, has not wavered in the generations that followed. During my surgical residency here at Temple University Hospital, and since I came to Temple as a trauma surgeon in the early 1990s, I've driven up Broad Street every morning at 6:30 a.m. or even earlier. I see countless remarkable women walking to the bus, getting where they need to go. Many of them have their children by their side, ready for school, backpacks in hand. Women doing what they have to do, just like my mother did. So even though we can't say all their names, to honor all of them, we will say some of them here today. All right, so this is the audience participation time. All right, this is the moment for you to share those names, the women who have influenced and inspired you. All right, so we're going for 100% participation here. Is the slide up yet? We're going to put the slide up. All right. Okay. You got to take out your phone, open a new text message. So get the phone, open for a new text message, and you're going to, in the send box, in the to box, you're going to put the number 2233. 2233. In the body of the message, so in the text window, type the word thanks, followed by the first name, then you need an underscore, and then the last name of a woman you want to honor. So the underscore is important for this to work because it keeps the names together, right? So it's first name, underscore, last name. Then once you have thanks, first name, underscore, last name, hit send. And that name will appear on the screen behind me. And you can send as many names and as many messages as you want. Each new name should be sent as a new message and sent the exact same way. And if you're watching through live stream, wherever you are, you can participate as well. So it's 2233, thanks, first name, underscore, last name. So start doing that. Josephine Torres, Eileen Steele, Gwendolyn Sturgis, Carol Biscardi, Nara Chang, Beth Johnson, Aunt Ann. You send as many times as you want, as many people as you want. Beth Johnson, Lisa Bellini. Don't be shy. All right, I got to do this too. Give me a minute. It's going to take me a little while. All right, new message. 2233. Uh-oh. I practiced yesterday. Hang on. I know, it's got to be interactive. Type the word thanks. I got to do this. Give me a second. Where's the underscore? Boom. Okay. Ellie Salo. My mom. All right. All right, everybody doing that? All right. So is this not incredibly awe-inspiring? We owe them so much. So you see, it's not just the women at the quote-unquote top, the executives, the women whose names make the headlines and give the quotes. Their work and accomplishments are clearly important and inspiring and well worthy of praise and celebration. But when I think about this, I think about the values and the worldview of Marjorie Joy Katz. She centered individual acts of kindness, support, and generosity, the meaningful personal interactions that made the world a better place, the things you do when no one is watching, because they make a difference. She was so right. It is critical that we recognize that. And what I've seen over and over again in my 30 years here, and what I focus my celebration around today, is how much we owe to the women who aren't necessarily in the spotlight, and how deeply inspiring they are. The women in environmental services and food services, in the labs, in the blood bank, our women nurses, the women at our Katz School of Medicine St. Luke's campus, and across all of our hospital campuses, Jeans, Episcopal, Northeastern, Chestnut Hill, the women at Fox Chase Cancer Center, in our offices in Center City, Elkins Park, Fort Washington, and Oaks, at Temple Women and Families, our staff who provide administrative and operations support, run meetings, and build events like today, the planners, the doers, the women who get it done. Without them, we don't have a school, we don't have a hospital. Without them, we, Temple, could not treat patients, and we could not save the lives that we save every day. We could not make the research discoveries that will illuminate future cures, and we could not educate the amazing students who will become change makers in healthcare. And we could do none of this. We could not have a mission without the women who do what they have to do to keep it all going. And they don't just keep it going, they make Temple great. And that is why we are here. It is imperative that we are intentional about acknowledging what the women across this organization do. Call it out, recognize what it means, and celebrate it. Celebrate each other, collectively look at all our women colleagues and take the time to say out loud how much stronger Temple is for the people and patients it supports, and because of you. And we also need this moment to publicly celebrate ourselves, what each of us as an individual brings every single day to our time here and to our lives outside of Temple that pushes the world forward and makes it better. Your accomplishments, great or small, however you view them, have impact. The power of one. Where's Emily? Power of one. Impact that reaches far beyond one person. I appreciate this insight from Adam Grant. Savoring success doesn't breed complacency. It fuels motivation. Marking milestones reveals progress and energizes effort. Current momentum raises future potential. Failing to celebrate accomplishments is a missed opportunity to honor time spent and distance traveled. We will not miss this opportunity. Thank you for your time spent and your distance traveled. And remember that time and distance is building the path for the women coming behind you. We had planned this event before the sudden loss of President Epps. But as Allison shared, we felt it only right to dedicate this inaugural celebration to her. So this is what she was all about. And we've shared a quote. You'll see it outside, and you'll see it on these bookmarks. So we shared a quote from her that I hope speaks to you as it does to me. If we want to be sure that our time here has meant something, we must ensure that we have handed off to those coming behind us a commitment and a passion to work for the best world possible. I know that each of you live by that standard every day, and you all surely inspire me. Thank you so very much for coming to participate in this inaugural celebration. Thank you. I got to gather up all my little props, my little comfort things.
Thank you, Dr. Goldberg. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, when my children are home, my youngest is 20, for what we call a hit and run, which means they roll in and grab supplies and money and then leave. I often confess to them how horrible it was for me to know that they were the first ones at daycare and the last ones to be picked up. And I just want to let all the working moms know, they look at me earnestly and say, "That's okay, Mom, we don't remember." I'm so excited to introduce our next speaker. I was more excited to be able to see her in actual human form and not behind a 2x2, a Zoom square, which has been our world recently. Our next speaker is someone who has spent a career in not just male-dominated industries, but roles that are often held by men, forging her own way, not just by determination, but through innovation and intellect and insight, and by mentoring and inspiring those around her. Our very own Deborah Cancilla, Executive Vice President and Chief Information Officer at Temple University Health System, provides strategic planning, daily management, and oversight of all of our technology activities and across the system, including all the digital transformation initiatives, and ensures that our essential data and technology services are not only well integrated, but also secure. So ladies and gentlemen, all members of our community, please welcome to the stage Deb Cancilla.
Hello, good morning, and welcome. It's my joy to be here this morning with you and to share some words on leadership, and I thought it would be the best topic for today. First, I'd like to recognize Dean Goldberg and just simply share with you, you're amazing. You are an inspiration of leadership, and you're somebody that all of us need to learn a great deal from. So thank you for pulling together this event today. It's incredibly meaningful. So leaders are needed in a time, especially like now, when the world is upside down and we're suffering losses across everywhere. It's my goal today, in the short time that we have together, to just offer you a couple tips on leadership, things that I've picked up over the years, things that have inspired me to keep going. So I'll start with my story. And my journey was one of flourish and flounder. And I started my career in banking in the 80s, a very strongly male-dominated industry. I had no clear path forward. I sorted and sifted every day to try to figure out what my next step would be. I had failures that, quite frankly, I remember today, and they really helped me develop as a leader. So at the time they hurt, but now I see the value in those lessons, in those failures that I really have acquired and learned. I largely flew under the radar in the banking industry, and my goal was simply survival. So how do I go in every day, do what I need to do, advance myself quietly, without bringing a lot of attention to myself, but making sure I was doing a good job and leaving an impact on that organization? You might say that this was my training ground. So let me share with you what banking was like in the 80s. And Allison and I laughed about this. We had a requirement. We had to wear pantyhose every day. Every day you had to put on those pantyhose before you went to work. We had to wear things called smart casual shoes. If anybody knows what those are kind of, I guess, what people would refer to as kitten pump heels nowadays. But that was a standard of dress during that time. We were only allowed to wear black, navy blue, or maroon. That was it. So it's not an unspoken dress code, it was a spoken dress code. And there was no deviation from that. The other thing that I very fondly remember is the 2-minute punch rule. And so you were allowed to be 2 minutes early, but couldn't be any more than 2 minutes late. And this silently governed your success in the organization. Timeliness was a standard that was strictly adhered to. I remember after my first child was born, I simply went to my boss and said, gosh, I could really use some flexibility. I'm trying to balance it all. And I was told that I can go to HR if I'm unable to fulfill my full-time responsibilities, ... You figure out the rest. So banking in the 80s was a really incredible training ground in a lot of regards, and it's something that I'll carry with me until my retirement one day. But then I found my purpose, and my purpose was in healthcare. So lessons that I have learned over the years. Number one, find a role model. Number two, you have to lead if you want to succeed. Number three, remember, this journey is about flourish and flounder. So going back to number one, a role model. My mom, like for many of you, was a very important role model. During the 60s, she was a nurse. She would put on her crisp white uniform, remember those days, with the cap, and head off to work every day. She worked nights, and my dad had to care for the 5 of us while she was at work. My dad's method of carrying his child care rearing was to send us to bed early every night to manage the chaos of the household. Needless to say, I grew up very well rested. Learned so much from my mom. As life moved forward, so did she. She changed her career like I did. She became a Master of Fine Arts, and her work was shown at the Albright Knox Art Gallery in Buffalo, New York. What she taught me was to follow your passion, address your challenges, and achieve your dream. My second point, you have to lead to succeed. So although it's easier to follow than to be a leader and put yourself out there, you're never going to achieve success without taking on some element of leadership. You define what that is. What is success and what is leadership to you? But great news, when I thought about this, I thought, gosh, and I debate like everybody else, are leaders born or are they developed? And I firmly believe leadership can be learned. Success is not bestowed upon you, it comes incrementally over time. If you choose to work on your goals and yourself, success is inevitable. Remember, success is how you define it. It's what you hope to achieve in life. And the flourish and flounder, you'll face challenges, we all do. It's part of professional and personal growth. For me personally, it was the end of a 27-year marriage. This tested every single ounce of me, and quite frankly, was the most dramatic personal growth that one can even begin to imagine. Professionally, challenges occur, I find, both at the start and as I think about concluding my career and finishing out my time in healthcare. At the beginning of a career, people look at you and they question your credibility. Do you have confidence? Do you lack confidence? What does your experience look like? For many of us, we're still trying to figure out how we balance life and career. Our desire to advance sits resident in the back of our mind, and we try to figure out how we're going to just squeeze in that education and continue to develop ourselves as we balance everything else. So the beginning of your career is just inundated with challenges. And then you start reaching the end point of your career, and you can see people around you start to think about, does she have too much experience? Is she long for this role? Is she too set in her ways? Does she have enough endurance to do this job? Will her health sustain? So my point to you is not good, bad, or indifferent. It's simply no matter what phase you're at in your career, you can expect and accept challenges. Move those barriers out of the way and keep going forward. So as we sit here today, I'd like to just summarize a couple thoughts for you. One, we already talked about, define your success. What is it that success means to you? If you don't take that minute and that pause to figure that out, you'll never know if you've got there. So really think about personally, what does it mean for me to be successful? Face and embrace your challenges. You'll emerge stronger. It's a process, not an event. Adaptability, women, this is your superpower. We pivot as needed, and that's just part of the flourish and the flounder of life. Life is not a clear path forward. In times of uncertainty, clarity will come if you keep pushing forward. Challenge yourself to grow every single day. Look for opportunities that are right in front of you. They don't have to be complicated. Look at this beautiful academic organization that you're sitting in and on campus today. What opportunities are there for you to continue to learn and develop? Be fierce in your ambition. Don't stop. Learn from a circle of trusted women. Find your mom, your coworkers, your sisters, people that you can really rely on for authentic advice as you make difficult decisions in your life, in your career. Surround yourself by intelligent women. Lastly, be curious and make sure to serve others as you achieve success in leadership. So I have two really important big boards in my home that I look at every day, and to me these were significant words that I focus on, I look at each day. But one were the words of Martin Luther King: "The true test of a man/woman lies not in times of comfort and convenience, but where he or she stands in times of challenge and controversy." Just think about those words for a minute, and those really will help when you're having a tough day. Challenge is not a bad thing. Nelson Mandela: "It always seems impossible until it's done." So now I say to you, go take on the day, have fun, move barriers, and good luck with your success and your leadership. Thank you.
Thanks for those awesome words of wisdom. I will tell you all, it was my oldest that came home one day to have my intervention and tell me it was time to ditch the hose. So I had no idea. He was like, Mom, I have something to say. Today would not be complete, however, if we didn't take a few minutes to invite onto the stage members of our broader community. Those who work tirelessly to deliver on the mission and vision of Temple Health. This morning, we're honored to have two such speakers. First, I'd like to introduce to you the assistant professor and university attending veterinarian and director of the University Laboratory, a trailblazer in her area of expertise. Born and raised right here in Philadelphia, she completed her Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree from Tuskegee University and her postdoc fellow residency program at the University of Michigan. We were lucky and delighted to have her join the School of Medicine here at Temple in 2019. Please welcome to the stage to present her story of inspiration, Dr. Dorian Colmer Butler.
First and foremost, thanks so much, Allison, for such a lovely introduction. I really am very honored to have been asked to participate in such a wonderful program today. It's an absolute pleasure to be surrounded by everyone in this room because every person in this room plays a pivotal role in making Temple University a place where people want to be. As a young professional woman of color, my race and gender outwardly face and are a central component of my identity. However, I am so much more. I am a veterinarian, I am a leader here at Temple University, I am a wife, and I am also a mother. Being a woman, particularly an African American woman in my profession, can come with its own special set of challenges. So finding the inspiration to keep along the path to success can definitely be daunting. Nonetheless, I'm here to say it is not impossible to find that hope and that inspiration, as we have many shining examples of strong women in leadership right here amongst us at this institution and in this very room. Today, I hope I inspire someone to reach to be all of who they are. I say all of who you are because many times as women, we are asked to hide so much of who we are. We are told not to be too emotional because they may think we're weak. We are told we can't do things sometimes because we're young mothers. We are many times overtalked, underrepresented, and underappreciated. For myself as a Black woman, I was always taught not to show too much frustration because we don't want to be labeled as the angry Black woman in the workplace. It is extremely diminishing and limiting when you can't just be genuine and show people who and what you are. The things I just mentioned are imposed upon women during their professional lives via many sources, whether it be coworkers, bosses, or society. These thoughts, feelings, and views can play a role in the process of minimizing who we are as women and professionals and can result in a feeling of isolation from the success we desire if we allow it. When I was first asked to participate in this program, I reflected on what inspiration was to me. From a surface level, it's really just the feeling of excitement you get from someone or something that gives you motivation to push forward with your dreams and your goals. As I've grown over the years, I've come to realize that inspiration is a combination of your positive experiences, your challenges, and impacts that the non-believers in your life and the cheerleaders in your life have had. From the time I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a veterinarian. We always had animals, and I would take them to my mentor, Dr. Orville Wall's clinic. He actually gave me my first volunteer experience at a veterinary clinic. And throughout that process, he always instilled in me the importance of working from the bottom to the top. On my first day, I found myself in the kennels, cleaning up after dogs. I went immediately to his office. And I asked, when can I be in the exam room? I want to be a vet, not a kennel tech, right? At that moment, he said to me very seriously, how can you lead something you really don't know much about? He told me that in the kennel, I would learn all the breeds, I would learn all their temperaments, I would learn basic husbandry care, and I would learn what it really took to make a veterinary office go round. You will most of all appreciate all of the staff, he told me. I was unhappy with that assignment initially, but now I understand what he was teaching me. Sometimes you must get in the trenches to be well-informed and impactful and a respected leader. If you are not willing to do the job, how can you encourage your staff to do it? Be an inspiration to all and show them that all roles make the department, corporation, and institution go round. I continued to be mentored by Dr. Walls throughout my journey to become a vet and was admitted to veterinary school on the first try. Following vet school, I completed a laboratory animal medicine residency at an institution where I would only be the second African-American woman to matriculate through. Many times I felt overtalked, underappreciated, and out of place. I felt that my counterparts kind of slid by while many of my decisions were met with the third degree. Many times I wanted to give up, but always remembered from Dr. Walls that the trenches I needed to go through were there for me to always come out better on the other side. Following my residency, I landed my first job at a large pharmaceutical company and became ACLAM board certified. A few years into my first job, my family grew and we opted to come back home to Philly. My new role was a little bit of a downgrade in title and salary, but I opted to take it to be closer to my support system. In my new role, I found myself again constantly overlooked for new opportunities to lead. When I expressed interest in taking more of a leadership role, my female boss told me that I was a young mom and I should focus on bonding with my children on the weekends instead of doing work and trying to overcomplicate my life being a leader. Though I think my ex-boss meant well, I was completely floored. In my eyes, it was for me to determine where my priorities should lie. At that point, I immediately began to seek a position that would better fit my professional goals, and during that time came across a posting for my current role here at Temple. It was the role I had been waiting for at a place that I wanted to be. I went through the lengthy recruitment process, and here I stand because Temple gave me, a young mom, a young professional woman of color, an opportunity to lead and inspire. I can truly say that Temple has done an amazing job at providing support to women like me in leadership roles. That is the difference at Temple. Women are supported, inspired, and are an inspiration to many here. I am here really to just encourage other leaders, males and female, to elevate your female employees by never undermining their efforts, by allowing them to have a voice, by showing them support through action, not just words, by taking away the bias that is associated with working mothers, which Deb ran into as well, by fostering mentorships, because I learned through my career that mentorship is important in getting you along the way, by providing equal compensation, by being proactive in the recruiting process in order to give more women a seat at the table, and by encouraging paths of leadership. I would like to further encourage women and anyone else who this applies to show the people around you that you deserve to be in the spaces that you are in. You should always choose to rightfully take your seat at the table. Lastly, I would like to congratulate Dean Goldberg on her 1-year anniversary as dean. She has inspired me by showing me what it looks like to be a pillar of support through her actions, which left me feeling backed, respected, and valued at a time when I had felt demeaned, unseen, and vulnerable. She turned around a situation that could have easily had me question whether Temple was the place for me or not. Her unwavering commitment to Temple is notable and deserves much recognition. So congrats, Dean Goldberg.
Thank you so much, Dorian. As we heard from other speakers, it's not always easy to forge our own path in the workplace or to be a first at something or even just figure out how to make it through every day with all the challenges and hurdles that we might encounter. But that certainly hasn't deterred our next speaker. A physician and fellow in cardiology, her interests include electrophysiology and epidemiology, Although it's not often that we see women take on this subspecialty, that did not stop Dr. Vedige from pursuing her dream, and she is here to tell us today why. Please welcome Dr. Natasha Vedige to the stage.
Oh, wow, thank you. So first, I just wanted to say congratulations to Dean Goldberg. This is my 8th year at Temple. I am a forever trainer. My husband is waiting for the day that I'm going to be done and have a job. But I remember distinctly that Dean Goldberg would walk down Broad Street in her Timberlands. And I just remember as an intern being like, oh my gosh, that woman is amazing. And I never met you. I remember one Christmas party for one of my labs in Wally Koch's lab. I saw you at a Christmas party, took a picture with you, and it's on my Instagram. And like, I memorialized Dean Goldberg because she was just this fierce, surgeon, advocate, and leader. And so just a side note about how much I've looked up to you over the last 8 years. So to be here today is very special for me. So thank you. Thank you to Allison for the introduction. So as Allison mentioned, my backstory is that I am a third-year cardiology fellow at Temple. I sort of had a long-winded path, as I mentioned. I have been here for 8 years. So speaking of sort of forging your way, I came into residency really wanting to become a physician scientist. At Temple, there had not been specific opportunities or people before me that had really done this kind of pathway. So some of my early mentors, including Meredith Briscoe, Basic, really stuck behind me and really advocated for me to create my own pathway. So being one of the first residents and fellows, I actually created a 8-year program where I would do my internal medicine training, 3 years of research and graduate school, and come back for my general cardiology fellowship. So in those 3 years of research, I actually was able to get my master's in clinical epidemiology at the University of Pennsylvania and really develop a skill set that would allow me to be a successful investigator. In my cardiology fellowship, I came in actually very interested in heart failure. And this is because we had very passionate heart failure educators when I was a resident. And when I came into fellowship, I was quickly introduced to this very black box field called electrophysiology. I constantly have to explain myself on what that is because nobody knows. It's basically the electrical engineers for the heart. We're very fortunate at Temple that we actually have fantastic educators. So once again, I was kind of taken by these people that were sort of problem solving, doing these complex procedures and actually able to cure patients. So for me, I quickly became enamored. I spent time in the EP lab, I spent time in clinic, and I really felt like, I like this, I get this, this makes sense to me. Something that was striking, though, was I didn't see any females doing it. There were, and to this day, there have not been any female fellows in electrophysiology at Temple. There are currently no female faculty. As I mentioned, I'm married, something that I would love to become one day as a mother, and I had questions. Some of the procedures that we do are under radiation using fluoroscopy. Would I have significant risks if I were pregnant? Would I be able to complete my training in a reasonable amount of time? These were all questions that I had and really no one to ask. So for a while, all through my first year and the first half of my second year, I really, really struggled. And I just didn't know if I belonged, if I was good enough. And this was in spite of having fantastic support from my male EP mentors at Temple. There was just something that was missing for me. So this is when I went to a national conference, which was specifically for women interested in EP. And it was run by 15 to 20 leaders in the field who also happened to be women. This was a weekend I spent in Chicago, and to be honest, I could not believe at the end of the weekend why I had ever second-guessed wanting to go into EP. It was so clear to me once I saw somebody that looked like me, that were moms, that were also interested in fashion and things that I wanted to talk about. They were in EP and they were doing great. So nationally, the number of women in EP, it's still less than 5%. So it's dramatically low. And I think that in spite of not really seeing women in my own home institution, I think it's very clear that these sort of national events where we can meet other women and connect with people outside of our home institution is going to become critical. Speaking to sort of our home efforts, Dr. Anjali Vaidya, who's here today, has been a major leader in sort of creating the Temple Heart and Vascular Women in Cardiology group. We joke around now that it's becoming such a larger-than-life group and that there are so many people involved. We have from medical students to residents to fellows, a lot of people who are just coming to see what is cardiology about and what are women like who do this job. We do happy hours, we have lecture series, and incredibly, since the implementation of this program, we've seen the number of cardiovascular fellows who are female at Temple go from 27% to 60%, which is currently. So tribute to Dr. Vaidya. She's been a inspiration for me. I've worked with her prior to even starting fellowship. She has always been a strong advocate for women and really has shown me what it's like to really be fierce and to fight for your rights and to fight for a seat at the table. So it's really my hope that by seeing more women and creating opportunities such as this event today, where we can see other women, physically see them and identify with them, that it'll become a normal thing, that the future generation of female physicians will want to have a seat at the table and feel like they belong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vetigay. That was super awesome. So we're going to close, I'm going to have a closing statement. I'm going to invite Dr. Goldberg up to say a few closing words as well. So I think what I've learned about my time here at Temple is that we really all have a story to tell about this place, this special place, whether it's the university or the health system. It could be a story of inspiration, it could be a story of resiliency, opportunity, teamwork, even hope. And I think what it demonstrates is that our success is not just about our individual determination as women. We can work hard, we can forge our own path, but without others who might lift us up, we might struggle to reach our full potential or even be afforded opportunity. For me, the real lesson today is about taking the time to give back. To lift another person up, it's a lesson about providing proximity, access, and opportunity to others who are looking to grow, develop, and succeed in their careers. So as we leave this session today, as a collective Temple Health community, no matter our side of the street, or if we're from a suburban campus or a downtown colleague, as we leave here today, I challenge you to ask yourself, how can I lift another person up? How can I provide opportunity, mentorship, guidance to someone else? Perhaps we can make that one of the cornerstones of our shared Temple Health legacy together. Thank you so much for coming. I'll ask Dr. Goldberg, do you have any closing comments?
Just a couple.
I am the funniest person I know. I have to say the funny thing. So, thank you again to all of you for being here, whether you're sitting here in the auditorium or streaming. So grateful for everybody participating. Thank you again to our speakers, Deb and Dorian and Natasha. You guys were just absolutely tremendous, really, really tremendous. You know, what we wanted today to be is truly a celebration of all women all over Temple. And it's been just that. Can't wait to our afternoon session. Is today Tuesday? Yeah, so yesterday, I spoke to our leadership team, and we were just, again, noting the 1-year anniversary of me being in this role and what we've accomplished and what we will accomplish going forward. And we talked about how 2 + 2 can equal 10. And that's really what this is all about. How can we just raise, as Allison said, raise everybody up? And how can, you know, working together just really be that much more productive and that much more fun and that much more inspiring for everybody. So thank you all so much. I guess we get to eat a little bit outside. All right, we get to eat a little bit out in the lobby. So thanks again so much for participating.